There are two emotions inside our brains, pleasure and pain, which are processed in the same brain region. Therefore, when we experience pleasure, pain comes afterwards. This process called the opponent process mechanism. Today I will explain the opponent process and how we can obtain happiness correctly. The opponent process mechanism can also be called the balancing mechanism. We can imagine there is a scale with a fulcrum in the center of our brains. The two sides of this balance represent two emotions, happiness and pain. When there is nothing, the scale is balanced. Whenever we experience pleasure or do something that triggers the release of dopamine in our brain, such as drinking alcohol or playing games, the balance tips to the side of pleasure. The more happy things we do, the more our balance tips, and the more pleasure we feel. But the scale does not want to tilt on one side for a long time, because the purpose of the scale is to maintain the level of our emotions, which cause self-regulating mechanisms. Therefore, every time the balance tips toward pleasure, the self-regulating system starts to work. Our brain produces large amounts of negative emotions to restore our emotional levels, such as anxiety and depression. When the scale is balanced, we can experience the same happiness again. Another way to say, for our brains, happiness and pain are more like the weights on both sides of the balance. When you pursue happiness, pain follows. Humans don't really care about balance, we want happiness. To obtain happiness, we constantly engage in activities that bring us joy, such as drinking and eating. But there is a problem with that. With the repetition of these activities, the tolerance of our brains to happiness would increase, which means our sense of happiness would become shorter and weaker, while our sense of pain would become more sensitive. By that time, we need a lot more activities of pleasure to get the same effect. With prolonged pursuit of happiness, at this point, we are craving a lot more stimulation just to feel normal. In this situation, nothing feels good anymore. This situation may sound severe, but don't be afraid. In most cases, if you are willing to stop seeking pleasure and accept the pain and discomfort, your brain will return to its healthy state of balance. You can find joy in everyday life again. If you consider your brain already in a state of imbalance, there is the temporary solution to help you get through this painful stage. Taking a cold shower. Taking a cold shower can increase dopamine in your brain in a short period, about an hour. The pleasure is the natural response to pain. Taking a cold shower may be painful, but due to the balance mechanism, you will eventually experience joy. Now that we understand the mechanism of balance, our goal is to obtain happiness correctly without disrupting the balance. Firstly, we should avoid activities that rapidly produce dopamine in our brains, such as smoking, drinking alcohol, or playing video games. Instead, we should strive for delayed gratification that bring greater and longer-term reward. For example, studying hard for an exam may be painful. Still, when you eventually become the top scorer in class and receive praise from the teacher and your classmate, this happiness and achievement will be substantial, long-lasting, and have no side effects. However, to delay gratification is not easy. We need to have a plenty mindset to do so. Because when our resources or mindsets are scarce, we are more invested in immediate gains rather than delayed gratification. First, living in a truth-telling environment. When the people around us are truthful and reliable, we feel more confident, predictable, and safe about the world. Number 2, get rid of social media. Social media amplifies our sense of scarcity. On social media, people post a lot of excellent material resources of their life, luxury cars, big house and parties. but many of them are not true. Because of these failed informations, many people, even though living in a wealthy nation, still feel a sense of scarcity. Therefore, living in a truth-telling environment and stopping the use of social media can help us become more content with what we already have. When we feel satisfied with our life, we are more willing to delay gratification. Buddha believed that without desire, there is no suffering. To attain long-lasting happiness, we must first let go of desires.